Here we go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, less known classic. This is episode number 2932. And Doubleshot, no, it's, 32 and Doubleshot 28, 30, 28, 26. Got two miniseries here. This first one is called Silent War, written by David Hayne. This is a follow-up to Son of M. Basically, it's a war between the Inhumans and the United States. Written by David Hayne, this follows up from the previous series where the U.S. tried to steal the Terrigen Crystal, so the Inhumans are going to war with the United States. So we open up with this opera, which is being attacked by Gorgon. Do such with them, and of course, basically, this wonderful arc, and then they're confronted by the Fantastic Four, which of course they get into disagreeing with. So Gorgon decides to use his earthquake, his stomping power, to stomp on the ground and cause basically a fight with Fantastic Four. Then Gorgon is captured by O.N.E, which their purpose is to protect mutants, not capture Inhumans. Yeah, not talking. The guy's like, tell me your leader. The Black Bolt. Well, apparently it looks like Gorgon's been stripped naked by this person working for O.N.E. So he's like, my name is Gorgon. I'm the Lord High Commander of the Imperial Guard of Attilan. Humans do not have numbers. Well now, Lord Gorgon, does Black Bolt always send his Lord High Commander of Imperial to do his dirty work? Let me tell you about my cousin. When Black Bolt comes for you, there will be no defense. When he speaks, these walls will crumble, and your great civilization, your precious, will fall. Yep. So, who this person is, don't know. The humans are not happy about the fact that Gorgon's been captured. Like, issue apology. Nope, not the apology. Because Black Bolt's like, nope, it's war. Because the whole thing between... So, because they owe it to scientists. This unnamed scientist. And, of course, you have... Basically, the first issue end with basically Gorgon going feral. And the image of him basically doing this is basically dominant Wikipedia for quite some time. Yeah, so the very next issue, it focuses on Luna with Lockjaw. Luna is training with Karnak for reasons. Luna's inhuman ability was actually unlocked thanks to her own father, Quicksilver, in the pages of Son of M. So this is like what the next thing they basically have for her. So the scientist who's human tests out the Terrigen Mist, and it does exactly work. He's dying. Maria Hill basically demands like action. So yeah, so Maximus is still crazy, because of course he is. Yeah, so they send the Mighty Avengers to go after the Inhumans, mostly but like the Sentry. Yeah. Yeah, then they go find Quicksilver, who has got his whole chest covered with Terrigen crystals. Yes, David Hayne has made Quicksilver insane. Oh yeah, and the whole thing is Lila Miller here still being, well, oh, I know it all. Oh, the issue is called X Factor. Like, EX Factor. Yes. Now, he does explain when this happened. Like, at some point after they last saw him, he apparently was meditating in his room for 7 days and 6 nights. And apparently the crystal told him, oh yeah, put all these tiny shards in his chest. Yes. Yeah. He's kind of going crazy. Of course, Lila Miller is here with Mandrix. Yep. So they did with him. Oh, and Quicksilver in this book, despite the fact that, according to him, like, he and Crystal were legally married. And apparently that didn't work for the Inhumans, despite the fact they were, in fact, actually married. Like, it's kind of weird in this book. It's almost like, now, I don't think they're retconning the fact that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch got married. Now, Crystal. Scarlet Witch's sister. They're not retconning it. It's just that the retcon here is kind of weird. It's like they got married, but they didn't. According to Earth law, they got married. In Humans law, they were kind of like mated or whatever. And Chris dissolved a relationship despite the fact she's the one who cheated on him. Yeah. And she, of course, is like, you never see your daughter again, even though that he probably will see her daughter again, because basically he has every right to see her. You see, here's the thing. She may be a royal, but technically she does not have the legal authority to deny him access to his daughter. Yeah. I mean, her brother-in-law / cousin is basically the ruler of New Athlon, but it does not give her the legal authority to deny this. I think she won New Athlon, so... Yeah, and then of course, basically, I was like, oh yeah, I can't... It was coming back with Crystal. Then Black Bolt basically... So the whole thing is that they also reveal in this book, apparently, like, Maximus is in love with his own sister-in-law. Yes, for some reason we had to do this. Which is like, okay, so at this point, basically, as of right now, there have been several people in love with Medusa. Maximus, of course, her own husband. She's had an affair with Johnny Storm. And she slept with Gorgon. Yes, for some reason, the writer of the book at the time thought it a good idea to basically put her in a brief relationship. This was Al Ewing, mind you. Put her in a brief relationship with Gorgon. For reasons. And by the way, it went nowhere. Yeah, they briefly once slept together, and it was mentioned once in a one-shot, and it was never brought up again. Also, it's brought up here that apparently mentioning their son is fine, but you can't mention his name because Aurora has been drawn insane for some reason. So, yeah, his insanity has been cured in this book. Yeah, as for why he's mad, I don't know. It's kind of weird. As for the whole thing of a silent war, you have some skirmishes, and then by issue 5, they finally take out the Mighty Avengers, which, of course, is the lineup that Brian McApendis started, with Miss Marvel, The Sentry, Black Widow, Wonder Man, Ares, Sentry, Miss Marvel, Iron Man, Wasp, Ares, Wonder Man, and the Black Widow. Also referred to as the New York Avengers. This is basically part of the whole initiative thing. This is after... So basically, you probably think, oh, what is this? This book is after Civil War 1? Yes, it is. So, they're trying to feed Gorgon here. One thing I've never understood about the writing process when it comes to the humans is that why is it sometimes basically they write that Medusa and Black Widow have a kid, and sometimes they don't, despite the fact it's the same continuity? That's one thing I've always found so confusing about Aurora, the son of Black Bolt Medusa. Where sometimes he's there, sometimes he isn't. I think the most recent experience I know of him was when he was named the head of a corporation run by Inhumans, and he reconciled with his father. Of course, he's a teenager at that point. So then, of course, you have more humans attacking like a shield hero carrier by the final issue of this book. Oh, is the whole silent war over by the final issue? Yes. Now, does this book continue? Does there a plot to this book continue in another book, per se? I don't think so. Yeah, basically, by the end of this, basically, Atlantis is destroyed. And, of course, basically, Maximus takes control of humans. But you might think, okay, so what's the next book technically they appear in, like, right after this? To my knowledge, after this miniseries wraps up, the Inhumans don't do very much for the next 6 years. Not really, no. I mean, I think they also next year, I think they went to space the very next year. Yes, I believe so. Yeah, they go to space, take part of the War of Kings crossover, like right after this crossover wraps up here. And then they're involved with the Realm of Kings, which has a loose tie-in to Mighty Avengers, which wraps the whole thing with where Quicksilver revealed that, he says that was actually a Skrull who did it, and then he later revealed in Peter David's X Factor, all the X Factor lied. After they on Imperative, they disappeared for a bit, popped up in FF, with the kind of basically recurring characters back in Fantastic Four for a little bit, and that Infinity become more. I would say up until Infinity, they didn't do a lot per se. It's like War of Kings, Inhumans, basically. There's Realm of Kings Inhumans. There's Time of Mighty Avengers. Thanos Imperative. Which, by the way, in War of Kings, Black Bolt died, and Medusa became briefly the ruler of the Inhumans. Yeah. So you could say up until 2013, they didn't do a lot with Marvel. Didn't do a lot with the Inhumans because Marvel didn't push them like they did in 2013. Oh, good gosh. It was basically a very forced push. It's like a few mini-series, pop up in Fantastic Four and FF, then finally do something with them. But yeah, this book is actually pretty good. I don't hate it per se. It's just that some of the stuff in here seems kind of odd and a bit out of character for some things. Also, it's like you have Fantastic Four brief period in the first issue and then they do nothing for the rest of the whole series. Yeah. I'm going to give the book an 8 out of 10. Next up is Sentinel Squad 1. 1 stands for Office of National Emergency. This is basically like a squad of one. Like, they focus on this old book. And it's a squad where their instructor is basically James Rhodes, who's in a Sentinel 1 style, so where it's like the helmet and boots are blue. And because the whole thing is about protecting mutants, and because one of the people refers to them as muties, he's like, you're dismissed. Because he will not take bigotry at all. The guy's kicked out of his group, and the whole thing is about multiple these guys getting up there, and also, apparently, despite the fact they protect mutants, they can't actually have mutants part of the actual organization. Which seems a bit counterproductive. Oh, in case you're curious though, who wrote this book? John Layman, with Aaron Lipsey on the artwork. And about halfway through the book, James Luke is injured and he's removed. And there's also this guy called General Lazar is in charge of the organization, and he's going to be a bigot. Because, of course, he is. You gotta have a villain in this book. And it's part of the whole dissemination thing with this book. That's kind of what it is. Mm-hmm. But it's an interesting mini-series, what it is. Though, basically, because it started back in 2006, roughly 1 year later, the Sentinels that were stationed at the Xavier Institute were destroyed thanks to a virus during the events of Messiah Complex, which caused all the Sentinels to be destroyed there. And the organization won. They didn't have much of Sentinels after this. And, like, nowadays, basically, one is basically a government agency run by bigots. That's kind of what this book is nowadays. Mm-hmm. You're like, really? Yes, really. That's the purpose of them. Basically be bigots for no reason per se. Yeah. And in case you're curious, though, is there any more like tie-ins for this animation to cover? Well, there's a few. Well, this book, the story of this book, continue in the book 198. Yeah, that'll be the next thing to review for this one. But as for Silent War, well, basically, well, that's going to be replaced with Matopa X. That's going to be the next thing to review for that one, is that particular miniseries. Oh, it's a House of Time, so I don't really need to worry about it. Oh, they had District X before this. Interesting. Yeah, this is basically a book focused on Bishop, but I'm not worried about multiplex, so it's a House of tie-in. So for the examination, this is kind of weird when it comes to this book. It's like, okay, so only issue 5 is part of basically the examination, but I'm not really worried about that one. So, well, Sentinel 1's replaced with 1, and I'm just gonna do basically other books. Basically, I'll find out. I'll figure out exactly what to do next time one. So, the only other major book to discuss is basically New Excalibur. Yep, that's the only major book left to go for basic examination is that one book. Which is going to be interesting because basically it's written by Chris Claremont once again. Yep. But yeah, that's particularly a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do hit the like button. Next up basically is Chained Soldier. Okay, thanks, Phil. Bye.